Welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro in studio guest as well. Chris Winn joining us. And I should start off every segment by a mistruth of what Donald Trump said in his State of the Union. We'd be here for weeks. But he said yesterday, quote, the U.S. economy is growing almost twice as fast today as it was when I took office. Well, the American economy expanded at an annual rate of 3.5% in the third quarter. Trump said they're considered far and away the hottest economy anywhere in the world. Not true. In fact, Poland, almost twice as fast. Same for China and India. Even the troubled Greek economy posted stronger growth. So another mistruth by Donald Trump. A couple people have been waiting on hold patiently, so let's get to them. Again, the number to call if you want to be a part of the program, 257-5396, 702-257-5396. JD, you have been waiting very patiently on hold. We appreciate that. How are you?
Fair to partly cloudy, gents. I may get banned for what I'm about to say.
No, I'm not going to ban you. You just don't swear. That's all I ask.
Yes. I do not do that.
Okay.
No F-bombs, JD.
I don't do that. First of all, your guest, Mr. Winn, ignored my statements 2 days ago regarding Lombardi and the state of Texas. Mr. Lombardi is not a talk show host, and the state of Texas did a 10-year study that he did not even address. They would have been destroyed by the Lib Democrats if I was wrong, and they were wrong. Chris, you gave him 2.5 minutes to talk uninterrupted. Excuse me. Then you gave JD the mic, and within 20 seconds, Chris interrupts him. Chris, you use too many words to say nothing of fact because you don't know how to respond to facts. So far, the fact checkers that I've heard today are crickets. I haven't heard anything.
Wait, JD, I'm going to say...
Whoa. Okay, all right.
I'm staying
look,
out
you
of
got
this
to give me a
one.
chance to respond.
Round one.
All right, I got two more points if I can.
Oh, JD,
look,
we're not going to hang up on you.
You can't just blast me and then not give me a chance to respond and say that I don't address things factually or that I offer no substance in regards to my
true,
rebuttals to anything you say, JD.
That's
you
what
have
a coward
to point out,
would do.
You have to say things specifically, and then I can come back and actually refute them.
I did. I told you about Lombardi and state of Texas.
You brought up two things that are anecdotal evidence in regards to what were we talking about? We were talking about the state of emergency, right? Was it the state of emergency we were talking about? What were we talking about?
I don't remember. I just want to hear you guys argue.
JD,
That's
didn't you
all.
bring up
we were talking about crimes by illegal aliens.
Yes.
You said 2%.
And your facts are wrong. You're trying to portray that in some way there is a crisis in regards to illegal or undocumented immigrants causing crime
You were right
at a rate
illegal.
that is alarming. Is that what you're trying to do? Are you trying to say that undocumented immigrants create crime at an alarming rate or a rate higher than what we have here in America with Americans? Is that what you're trying to say?
You were right the first time when you said illegals. You said 2% are crimes. How do we know it's 2% when we don't even know how many illegals are in the country?
I never said 2%. I never put a number on undocumented or illegal immigrants crime. I never put a number on it.
You said 98% of them are very good people. 2% commit crime.
I use a general statement. I wasn't like Hillary Clinton and saying half of the people are deplorables that voted for Donald Trump.
We're not talking about Hillary. Hell with Hillary.
But you understand the point I'm trying to make.
JD,
I'm saying the majority. Okay, how about this, JD?
Give
the majority of
give JD some time.
Okay.
Go ahead, JD.
Well, yeah, but
wait, which JD?
JD's not going to.
You JD
here.
You JD or me JD?
I thought you were talking about
Hold on.
JD.
Can I just hold on, everyone? I'm going to make a general comment.
Yes.
And I believe this to be true.
They're good people, right?
Okay, both JDs. The majority of illegals that come into this country or that overstay their visas are not bad people. I'm not going to give you a percentage. I'm just going to say
I will give you a percentage.
The majority.
I think that it's about 20 to 25% are not good people or cause problems, commit crimes, etc.
JD said 33% of the felonies in 2017
I understand that.
were committed by illegals.
I still think that it's about 1 out of every 4 are probably causing some type of major issue that are coming here illegally.
I don't think it's that high.
And one thing that we're not saying,
that high.
Okay,
33% is way too high.
I don't think it's 33. I think it's more like 20 to 25. And one thing you guys didn't mention last time that Trump said in the State of the Union was, I want as many new immigrants in this country as possible. I just want them to enter the country legally.
Can I address this since you JD, stay on the line. When we talked about the State of the Union, okay, this is what Donald Trump said. Okay, your guy Donald Trump. He said, "As we speak, large organized caravans are on the march to the United States." I'm sorry, but that is completely exaggerated. At the end of January, a new caravan of thousands of migrants from Central America were headed north, and some of those travelers said they actually intended to try to cross in the United States, but many in the caravan have said they plan to remain in Mexico, thanks in part to the new policies that were put in place in Mexico. So Donald Trump, once again, is exaggerating the facts. If you want to talk about exaggerating facts, JD, I never hear you call up and say, well, our exaggerator-in-chief and our liar-in-chief said this today. I never hear you say that. You're criticizing...
If you ask me that question right now, which you are, I will agree that he is an exaggerator-in-chief, and he makes his point by exaggeration. We now have 30 people in the United States that crossed over the border by an Associated Press story last week who are being fed by tubes because they're on a hunger strike because they think their civil rights were violated by entering this country illegally. And you know where they're from? Half of them are from China, and half of them are from India.
All right, JD, let me respond to that. Let me respond to that. Your president, the exaggerator-in-chief, who you just agreed, I'm glad we agree on that, said yesterday the border city of El Paso, Texas, used to have extremely high rates of violent crime, one of the highest in the country, he said. Well, guess what? El Paso was never one of the most dangerous cities in the United States. In fact, the crime has been declining in cities across the country, not just El Paso, for reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with border fencing. I can go on if you'd like. Back in 2008, before border barriers had even been completed in El Paso, the city had the second lowest violent crime rate among more than 20 similar-sized cities. So there he is again.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
To Chris and to you, Brian. And I respect your opinion, Brian. Chris, not so much. Like I said, I may be banned after this.
No, you're not going to be banned.
You're not banned. Go ahead, JD.
Number one, whenever I see the Democrats proposing a program for health care, women's health, whatever they are, you know that what everybody knows what they are. If we could only save one life, how about if we could only save 4,000 murders in this country, Chris? And you didn't even allude to the fact that the 4 murders were in Nevada that he highlighted in his speech. I don't care what you say when you cannot stop these people, illegal immigrants, committing murders and rapes and sex crimes, then we have a problem. Let's now stop that, and then we can sit down and we could have a fair immigration product. If the dam is busting, you plug the holes, and then you figure out how to repair the dam permanently.
Okay, JD, you made your point. I always appreciate when you call, and we're going to let Chris Winn respond to that, JD, and I got to get to some other callers, but thank you. Thank you, JD.
Very much for your time.
Okay, no problem,
JD, all reasonable and rational Americans would never want any of these tragedies to take place, okay? Now, you're characterizing me. I mean, you're talking about Democrats, so you obviously assume that I am a Democrat. Those of you out there, and not just JD, but Trump supporters, you do understand, okay, that there are people out there that disagree with the Trump administration and a lot of their policies that are not liberal Democrats. Brian, I'm not a liberal Democrat. I am absolutely not. There are people out there. How about Steve Schmidt? Okay. How about Rick Wilson? How about Stuart Stevens? There's people out there that used to be Republicans. Joe Scarborough. Okay. That used to be Republicans. There's people out there who are independents. Okay. That may be conservative when it comes to fiscal and economic standpoints.
Yes.
Okay. And liberal when it comes to social issues.
Can I just interject?
So look, it's much more complicated than that. JD's trying to peg me as some liberal Democrat. Okay,
Chris.
And then point out and make a statement, and then and by the way, he throws out anecdotal evidence. Okay, and I've talked about this before. Okay, you throw out incidents of undocumented or illegal immigrants being killed by killing Americans. Okay,
hold on, JD. Let me just.
I do not. That makes me as furious as anybody else. Okay,
can I just say one thing?
Killed by undocumented immigrants.
Hold on.
No, but he's going after
defending
me
yourself. You have the right
personally,
to do that.
and it's like
he has
no idea
what
my approach is here.
Of all the times JD has called in, that was definitely my favorite call for one reason. He said he respected my opinion, but he didn't respect yours. Go ahead.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
I just raised my hand in studio for 45 seconds like a 6th grader, by the way.
Go ahead.
Hoping that I was
going on my I had to go on my rant.
You turned into Hakeem Olajuwon to Dikembe Mutombo, and you blocked that shot right out of the air.
Yes.
That was great. It was a good block.
No soup for you.
But I think
anyways,
Chris, right,
Chris,
JD?
who did you vote for? And did you vote?
I voted for Hillary Clinton because it was a bilateral choice in regards to Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And I am a never Trumper. But there are a lot of people who are Republicans who are never Trumpers.
But what you're saying is
okay?
you're a never Trumper, and you voted for Hillary, but you're not. But you're not a Democrat.
No, let me ask. Let me tell you why, JD. Who did I initially support? It was just the lesser of both evils. Who did I initially support? I'm going to tell you. Who did I initially support? Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is who I initially supported. And if it wasn't going to be Marco Rubio, I wanted Jeb Bush to be president of the United States. And if it's not Jeb Bush to be president, I wanted John Kasich to be president of the United States. Okay, so that's 3 Republicans, all right, that I supported in this. See, I'm not somebody who's just a flat out lefty. I'm somebody that looks at, tries to take an overall look of the entire political spectrum and make a judgment from there.
I understand you have a right to defend yourself. We got a lot of calls we got to get to here, and we have a caller who's called in for a second time who I called a racist, so I might give him another chance. We'll see about that. Yeah, but let's go to Don. Don, thanks for calling in. How are you, Don?
What's up, Don?
Don, you're on the air. Go ahead. Don, you're off the air. Thank you for calling. Appreciate that very much. Thank you so much. Let's go to Brian. Brian, thank you for calling the Vegas Take. How are you?
I'm good, guys. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. What's up?
Fire extinguisher to Chris, will you?
Yeah.
His face is all red. Yeah, we got to calm him down a little bit. Yeah.
I got amped up. There's no question about it.
Go ahead, Brian.
Just a little jab for Chris. All those guys you mentioned, they're swampers, man.
They're what?
Stewart, Stevens, all the people you named that are Republicans that hate Trump, they're all swampers. They're exactly the people that I ranted against when I accidentally said a bad word last night, for which I apologize.
Well,
that's okay.
See, the thing is, that's why I brought them up, though, is because there are people out there.
Hey, what word did you say?
Well, no. What do you mean? What word did you say? We're not going to repeat the word. What are you trying to do? We have a dump button.
BS.
Yes.
Unabbreviated.
It's okay, Brian. You're a good caller. We accept your apology.
That happens. We all make mistakes.
Yes. What's on your mind, Brian?
Even on air in front of 15,000 people sometimes.
Yes.
Well, a quick thing about abortion. I'm going to steer us back there just for a second.
Sure.
Most people are woefully ignorant about what the abortion laws are. They know a little bit about Roe versus Wade, but what they don't understand is the same day that Roe versus Wade was passed through the Supreme Court, its companion piece of legislation or law was Doe versus Bolton, and that extends it all the way through the 3rd trimester. And so basically there were some things about trimesters with Roe versus Wade, but then that was pretty well done away with Doe versus Bolton. So there's actually some places that specialize in 3rd trimester abortions. You may have heard the name Tiller.
Yes.
Who was murdered in church one day by a crazy pro-lifer who specialized in 3rd-term abortions. And he had his own crematorium on site where he would burn the bodies, cremate the bodies of those 3rd trimester babies.
That is an extreme case, though. So let me ask you this then, Brian.
I agree it is, but I'm just saying.
What have I said
for a long time?
What have I said that you disagree with?
The only thing that most people don't know, they're pregnant at 4 weeks, at 1 month. They usually go till they miss their second period.
Yes.
And then they seek, to see if they're pregnant, or they're tested at the drugstore. They go see a doctor.
Yes.
And then so the earliest a woman's going to have an abortion is between 8 and 12 weeks.
Most likely, I agree with that. Most likely that is the case.
But here in Las Vegas, as well as most large cities, they go through the 5th month.
Which I don't agree with.
For any reason.
Which I don't agree with. You know what else I don't agree with? People that tell other people what to do with their body in a logical way. I don't like the people on the far right and the ultra-religious that want to push their beliefs on others and say abortion in general should not be legal. In fact, I talked to some people, Brian, who I actually respect, who I think are decent people that call all women who get abortions murderers. And I'm sorry, but that's wrong. Just like it's wrong to get an abortion in your 7th or 8th month, it's also wrong to call a woman a murderer who does it responsibly.
Well, I'm an avid pro-lifer, have been for 35 years, and I go at it from this. I look at it scientifically.
Yes.
And I look at it in a humanitarian way. I don't use my religion or anybody else's religion to argue this.
And
very controversial issue.
And that's fine.
And I would point anybody that has never seen an abortion to go on YouTube.
It's tough to watch.
And look up.
I have seen it.
Of reason.
I've seen it.
So let me ask you this, Brian: if a 13-year-old girl gets raped, or if a woman has a blood condition, and if she has the child, she's going to die, Are you okay with either of those situations, an abortion taking place under the right circumstances?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's logical.
That is totally reasonable.
Because we're talking about less than 3% of all abortions.
Right.
So all the hard cases added up together. And so,
I don't have a problem with your opinion, Brian. I really don't. Again, the problem I have are people who have those types of views who push it on others. Now, you wouldn't call a woman a murderer if she had an abortion in her second month, would you?
No.
Okay, well, then I respect your opinion.
The doctor maybe, but not her.
Okay, well, I respect your opinion, Brian. I always appreciate it when you get a different point of view.
Let me say one more thing, if I may.
Sure.
And the guy who made that video, his name is Dr. Bernard Nathanson.
Mm-hmm.
He ran the largest abortion clinic in the world in New York City for a period of 2 years.
Yes.
And he is ultimately responsible for 75,000 abortions.
That's a lot.
Now, he changed his mind owing to the unmistakable humanity of the unborn child due to the scientific advances of fetology and ultrasound. And he spent the rest of his life trying to inform people that what they were doing as physicians were wrong. And so he knows what he's talking about. That is a valid film to see. And if you've never seen it, you need to watch it.
I have not seen that film, and you know what? I will check that out. I trust your judgment on that, and I will. Brian, I always appreciate when you call in. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Great call, Brian.
257.
Every time he calls in, I learn something.
No, he's a smart guy. I will say this, though. He's not going to like this, but his voice sounds very eerily similar to Scott Peterson. I want to get some audio of Scott Peterson.
What?
I don't know. It's weird. His voice, I think of Scott Peterson. I'm not saying he killed anybody. I'm just saying his voice sounds like Scott Peterson. Next time Brian calls in, and he calls in all the time, and he's a great caller, I'm going to try to get a YouTube video of one of those Scott Peterson interviews.
And try to see if you can compare the two.
His voice sounds just like Scott Peterson. I'm sorry, Brian. It's not an insult to you. You're just your voice. Hey, look, a lot of people say my voice sounds like some pretty bad people.
Hey,
I'm not saying you're
JD,
bad. That's all.
I think Brian Shapiro's voice sounds very similar to Jeffrey Dahmer. Maybe just me. But
I've never eaten a human being before. I never plan to, although I do like the movie Alive. I like that scene because I think it's interesting, but I would never
thinking
eat a human
Ed
being.
Gein.
Yeah, all right. Well, thanks for the... Okay, so this is dangerous here, okay? I never let people call into this show twice. At least it's very rare, okay? So Bob called into the show. I think it was the first or second segment, and it was just a really bizarre phone call. He was talking about how the women at the State of the Union were all wearing white, and then he was making some really weird arguments, and then I said some maybe things that he didn't find very funny, like I thought that maybe there was a KKK outfit in his closet. But I'm going to give Bob another chance to be logical, and let's try to be nice to one another, Bob, okay? I'm giving you a second chance. Hello, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Well, a gentleman, young gentleman, I think.
Not that young.
Well, first of all, let me thank you for the accommodation of letting me call back twice. That's usually not done in the popcorn talk radio format.
What does that mean, popcorn talk radio? You're starting. Are you going to start the call with another insult?
It was a backhanded compliment.
Okay, hold on, Bob.
Was it backhand?
Okay, number one,
That felt a lot like a backhanded compliment.
Can I just say, Bob? I'm not hanging up on you, Bob. I'm not going to hang up on you because you've been nice. But hold on. You said something that I don't necessarily. You call us young. Let me tell you something. I'm 38 years old. There's a lot of young people that are a lot more intelligent and more logical than some people that are in their 80s and 90s. You know, I see people at the poker table. They say, "Son, I've been playing poker for 65 years." Those are the idiots that I take money from at the poker table every time. So don't call me young, Bob, okay? There's some things in life I'm not good at. I struggle to do my laundry and take showers every day, but I do have a brain that thinks, and I am logical. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Bob.
Well, I meant young as a compliment.
All right,
and
thank
when
you.
I said
Thank you.
popcorn, it was cryptic for short.
All right, extra butter.
Discussions.
All right, as long as there's extra butter on the popcorn, we're good. Go ahead.
All right, now I called back to give you something positive,
Thank
and then you let me on. I'm gonna fulfill that. Okay.
Thank you.
You didn't bother me by the names. I come from the days where sticks and stones they break my bones.
Okay.
And I open carry in 1911, so I'm not afraid of any of that stuff. Now,
Okay. I'm not sure if that's an indirect threat, but go ahead.
no.
Okay.
See, that's the problem. Everybody's
Okay.
fear-based anymore. Now,
Okay.
So remember I told you, gentlemen, that everything comes down to two things. Everything comes down to two things. That's morals and/or energy. And they think they've discovered fusion, so I wanted to tell you to look up ECAT.com. They had a worldwide video on it, and it's now going into what they call non-disclosure NDA agreements.
Bob, you're killing me. You're killing me. What are you talking about?
Positive. What?
Positive?
Bob, are NDAs enforceable in Nevada? Do you know if they are or not?
I'm trying to tell you, they think they discovered a new form of energy, the likes of which mankind's never seen before.
That's fine. We could have a discussion on that, but I'm just trying to figure out what that has to do with anything we've talked about for the last 90 minutes. That's all I'm asking.
No,
I'm trying to be positive too, Bob. I'm trying to assume that you're a very intelligent, logical human being. I'm just asking you, in the 90 minutes we've been on the air, what does that have to do with anything we've talked about?
Well, because everything comes down to morals and/or energy, it probably has some shit somewhere in there.
Okay, look, this is why I didn't go to class in high school, because you were my professor in high school, and you talked about things that I didn't care about, but I appreciate you calling in anyway. Thank you, Bob.
Did you just drop a word that we can't say on the air?
I don't know what he said,
I
but
thought he did say something.
Bob,
but wasn't that I think that approach, Brian, was something that should be on Roy Masters' show in a few hours.
I think
talking about energy.
I think Bob and Roy Masters would do a great segment together, at least twice a week.
That was absolutely something.
Bob, we're going to put you in touch with Roy Masters. You would add a lot to his show because you sound just like the guy.
Okay, first of all, don't start off a phone call by calling me young or calling us young bucks or something like whatever like that.
Or the young popcorn show.
You know what? I understand, respect your elders and all that stuff. But if an elder disrespects me, I'm not going to respect them. Just as if you're in your 80s or 90s, it doesn't mean just because you've lived life longer than me doesn't mean you know more than me. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that.
It's like what Tony Soprano says in The Sopranos, right? Those who want respect, give respect.
Yes, that is right. I agree with that. Well, I guess what? Believe it or not,
hey,
go
Chris,
ahead,
did you see that his kid is playing him in the prequel movie?
That's true.
His
actual child.
That's true.
Really?
I saw that.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm actually
Michael
excited.
Gandolfini.
Yeah, I'm excited to see
And he
that.
looks just like him.
He seems like a good guy, too, in the interviews he's done and stuff. But, yeah, Tony Soprano, one of the best. Anyway, thank you for the call, Bob. I gave you a second chance. It's kind of like I guess it's kind of like a youth league baseball or something. When you strike out 4 or 5 times in a row, the coach says, you know what, I'm going to let you one more at bat. You got one more at bat, son. I can do it, coach. And he just struck out again. But I appreciate the effort anyway. Thank you. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little UNLV hoops. There is somebody in the media, once again, that said something completely idiotic when it comes to the UNLV basketball program. It is insane. We're going to get to that, and we're going to take your calls, of course, at 257-5396 at Sharp and Shapiro. Chris Winn in studio. Take a quick break. Be back right after this on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN.